We are going, are we?
No, not yet. Yes, you're right. You're good.
We are going. Whew, getting warm now. Okay. So, hello and welcome, everybody. I just want to move this. Meeting is now streaming, but it's blocking the screen, so I can't see you. Anyway, hello. There we go. It's just taking a little while. Hello and welcome, everybody. And I'm excited to bring some amazing women here on this discussion with me, whom I will hand over to you shortly to do a 1-minute introduction. I know I'm hard, but that's it. We want to talk about all the juicy stuff. Alessandra, I'll just put the questions in again for you in case. So we've got a pretty powerful topic today. Well, I think it's powerful anyway. And we're talking about witches, past, present, future. Where do we think they're going? Who are they? What were they perceived as? And I'm wondering if many of you that are listening actually realize that I believe there were like a minimum of 45,000 executions and around 90,000 accusations. They're only the ones that were recorded. There were many that were not recorded. And today with witchcraft, the concept has shifted significantly, thank goodness, because otherwise we would have all been hung or burnt or goodness knows what on the panel, even the sacred community perhaps. And it's really shifted. I know for myself, it's a lifestyle. It's not a religion. However, some people treat it or work with it as a religion. And it's very much about healing. And in my interpretation, and everybody will get to do this, it's a lifestyle where we honor all that is. And there's so much else in between. So mainly women were accused of witchcraft way back when. There were men, and actually it was quite a political thing as well because, well, with patriarchy, the church, and politics, because a lot of people that were very wealthy that didn't agree with what was going on were also accused of being witches, and their fate was put in the hands of those that we shall not mention. So I'm looking forward to this discussion with these amazing ladies. But first of all, let's introduce ourselves. And well, let's have a start with Melody. Welcome, Melody.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here. So very briefly, I've had more than 40 years in the area of angel communication and healing of all kinds, very much in the energetic field, and I'm now writing. Was that short and sweet?
That was short and sweet. And just mention something about your books, though. Just something very quick, like.
Very quickly, the books are at the back. Excuse me, there's the covers at the back. It's about the lovely Maggie McCready, who's on development of her own spiritual journey and her ability as a tarot reader. So, of course, I, hooked into all that I understand and expressed it through the books.
Beautiful. And I have the first one, and it is like, I love the conversations in it. I find it, there's a certain wit that I really like in it as well. Yes,
I think that's important, wit.
It is. And just as a reminder to our audience, everyone here, our links will all be in the comments section below so that you can connect in with any of these gorgeous women. Janaki, a little bit about you.
Yes, I am Janaki Mayhill with Bhakti Light. I am an agent of change and alchemist of well-being. I was born into a yoga family, so I was fed a lot of spiritual wisdom at a very young age, a lot of consciousness unconsciously. So my journey has been a journey of radical self-love, anchoring consciousness consciously through turning my perceived wounds into wisdom, and I walk, breathe, live the journey of an alchemist. So that has been my journey.
Beautiful. And yes, the alchemist. Lovely. Love it. Welcome. And beautiful Alessandra Moon, my witchy friend.
Hello, thank you, Julie. Pleasure to meet everybody. Yes, so I'm Priestess Alessandra Moon, CEO of Raven Moon Academy. I'm a mentor for witches, and probably on a similar line to the beautiful lady previously, I'm a spiritual alchemist as well. So I work very deeply in shadow work and working with the deep self. So yeah, like Julie, here to help pioneer change, and I think that's what we're all here for, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I am Julie Nelson, rich witch. Rich meaning rich in life, rich in magic, rich in being, because some people misunderstand that. And I do live the lifestyle of a witch, and I have really, I suppose, most of my life, but the last 35 years or so, I've brought it into my practice, as in my business and work, or all of my tools come into my work, which you will find out about in the comments section if you click on my links. So let's dive into this, yes, because really this is a massive topic, massive, and we have about 50 minutes. So what I ask is, when we do the questions, is that we keep it brief, but then if we've got time, we can come back and delve a little bit deeper, which is always nice, and that way everybody gets to speak. So the first question I have is, how accurate is the witch stereotype, and where did it come from? And I'm going to pick Alessandra to speak about this first.
Hey, so I guess it depends on who you're talking to. But overall, I don't personally think that it is accurate. I think in a way we'd all love to just go and live in a cottage out in the woods and talk to the animals and the plants. But I have the belief that some of this stereotype came from during the trials, when they were seeing these women being tortured and dragged out from dungeons, and they're malnourished, and they've probably ripped their fingernails out, if not have had them grown, to great lengths, and they'd all be disheveled and bloody and missing teeth, and they would look pretty scary. And they would be screaming, and like they're in pain, they're suffering, they're being put through this absolute deplorable hell by these people, if you can call them that. So, I think a lot of people would get an image in their minds of this horrible, scary hag of a woman. And really, this could have been a very beautiful woman, excuse me, prior to this. But then on the other hand, they wanted to portray this image of some terror, some, devilish creature who was going to eat your soul and do all of these horrible things and kill the crops, and, because they wanted to scare people so that they were pointing the finger and you know, helping with the atrocities. But yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of them actually were barely alive when they may have been dragged out, hence looking like the hags and even the discoloration of their skin. But we're here to bust a lot of myths too, and that's a perfect answer, and it's true. They were misunderstood by how they were seen in those final minutes, hours. Janaki, let's hear from you.
Yes. So my belief as far a witch is a woman who spoke up, a woman who spoke her truth. And it was the distortion of leading with the patriarchal and women of not having power because women are the ones who birth everyone on the planet. So we already have so much innate inner power within us. So when we would speak up and we would share our gifts, it would be shunned and silenced. And I can relate a lot with it because I was the people pleaser and I held my voice back for many years. And so this is what I love supporting, is being your authentic expression of your gifts. And this is what with the witch, I mean, that's where it originated from, is we all have tapped into source. We're all source embodied. And when we tap into source creation and our intuition, because everything we require and desire, we already have. So it's tapping into what we already have. And oh no, we got to put God outside of ourselves on a pedestal, creating this lens of separation versus that's my belief with the witch and how it oriented.
Thank you. And you pointed out something that I almost my words, as in they were the women that spoke up. They were the women that had the strength. And I always relate this to Lilith. If you read about Lilith and on Google, it's like she was the demon woman, the vampire blood-sucking woman, and what she was the woman that stood up and spoke out, and she resides in that, our sexual power, our sexual energy, our base chakras, and yes, and that has been suppressed, or was. Lots of us are not allowing that to be suppressed. And it's not about going out and having sex with anybody that you want. It's about using that energy to rise. Yes. And Melody, what are your thoughts on?
Yeah, I go back to there was only really 3 roles for women during that time. You could be the maiden, and you could be all sweet and be malleable. You could be the mother looking after all the children and, you know, the community through that. Or you could be the crone, which means you were past it anyway. And if you went through the religious aspect of that, the crone became the saint. But there was no space in any of that for anyone being wise. So a woman who understood what was going on, who had an intellect, not just, you know, sexual power, and was creative, because the other aspect of that sexual energy is to change the energy through menopause and be creative with it. That was denied. There was no space for that. And so these women were automatically shunned, even if they were the very people that the community went to for help with whatever health issues they had, emotional issues, whatever. That was all pushed aside, and everyone shut up because they couldn't dare speak about these people that were on the outer. So yes, you've got, you know, not belonging to society, but being necessary for society, and at the same time not being recognized and being diminished. So, you know, when you put through that time of, you know, the whole development of the Catholic faith at that time particularly, which was about destroying any opposition of any kind, and we could include the Cathars, for example, in the same vibrational energy. What you're doing is you're saying we can only have one way of doing something, and everything else is not allowed.
Yes. And are we not grateful that now we have the Mega or Maga stage between the mother and the crone, where this is about the woman reclaiming herself, which I love because I'm right in the midst of it. And many female clients, well, I only work with women, in this age group, they all come out with very similar language. They want to feel more empowered and powerful. They want to feel more beautiful and connected to their sensual selves, and they want more confidence. And this is a great opportunity for women to come out of the motherhood where we tend to lose ourselves a little bit, or many of us, and reclaim that powerful essence of being that it's at the core of us. So it's beautiful. Thank you, ladies. That was very good. And question 2, which we've kind of looked at, but we can go a bit more deeper into it. Why were women so much more likely to be accused? Now, one, we've already spoken about it, about standing up and having the voice and being the medicine woman and the wise one. And I would love to hear your thoughts, Janaki.
Well, I am a firm believer that even when things happen in our life, everything happens for us and it's not to us. So, by agreement, this was an agreement in consciousness, part of our collective evolution. So, we had to have this backwards of the patriarchic energy, because if you notice, the matriarch is rising, and it's not the I'm going to be leading. The matriarch leads with so much love and compassion. And what I've witnessed is the masculine's here to support the feminine, not lead, support the feminine and who she is. And when she's divinely supported, lifts up the masculine and bursts in the Christ child of our holy trinity of infinity. And that's my belief, that it's part of the undoing that we've all agreed to in our consciousness. And so that's where I stand on it. And it was meant to be backwards. It was meant to be backwards so we can experience the illusion of confusion into our new clear vision and wisdom of what is true.
I hear what you're saying. I'm not sure how I'm sitting with that, but I'm absolutely hearing it. Yeah. This is a big question, a very big open question. So let's hear from Melody again. And thank you, Janaki.
You're welcome.
For me, I think it was about the power struggle. I think that is the biggest part of it, because if you see how we moved from the Dark Ages through to the next major shift, if you like, which was the Renaissance and the mind thinking, it was this whole spiritual shift in energy. We started to have more religions. We started to recognize there was not just one way, there were many ways, and that they were as equal as one another. And you've got a cellular memory of those people coming through, of being that much more connected to the earth and its cycles and the energy. So you've got that underneath pushing the energy of, we are being restricted, we can't do what we want, we need to, conform, against that energy underneath. And I think that combination made it a perfect storm, if you like, for that to come out in that manner.
Yeah, absolutely, the perfect storm and power struggle. Yes. Alessandra, my apologies, I just went blank then because I was going to blurt something out, but I then held it back.
No problem. Look, I think, around that time, there was the belief that women were the weaker sex, that they were more prone to sin, and And I think as Melody, sorry, was saying, you know, that control and the ownership, it was ownership. We were, you know, we were there for men to do as they pleased, what they wanted, you know. And so if a woman were to, as mentioned previously, think for herself, say no to a man, or just, you know, wasn't useful, or the midwives and the healers who were a threat to the you know, men coming in and taking over the medical business, you know, it was just all about that control. And, you know, women weren't allowed to be powerful. You know, they were the weak ones, the sinful ones. Eve is the reason that we were all condemned, and she was a woman, and, you know, all of that malarkey.
Yes, malarkey. So I love it, and I love how you know, it's very important that we have our own thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and respect that in others. For I mean, way back, women were more thought of as being equal in many cultures. In Egypt, you know, the women and men walked side by side. In other cultures. And I fear, for me, it was when Christianity came in and there was a very big power play. And it's interesting because I've just been writing about the divine feminine and the divine masculine within us, and how it is, we are rising. And I actually believe there's been a bit of stagnancy for several years, maybe a couple of decades, and now I feel there's more forward movement with it. I mean, you know, looking at the 70s and the early 80s, there was a strong movement with the women who, if they could have, they probably would have been, you know, jailed as well, or burnt or hung if patriarchy could have gotten away with it. And I really believe today, if they thought they could, they would. But women are so much more standing in their power. And I do believe that it was a threat because we do think and act differently, dare I say, other than some women that are like puppets in our patriarchal parliament, government. I have to be careful what I'm going to say. But you know, we want to bring in that balance to help things. We need both. And we within ourselves and separately as male, female, or whatever gender. I get confused with all of that, but, you know, gender appropriate. So yes, it's a really big topic, and I think that there is a lot to speak on that. And I still feel that women are very much suppressed at the moment, and holding back, and they are in fear. And that's what we want to work with, is helping to lift that fear, release that fear, so that they can move forward, they can rise unapologetically and stand in their own power, which doesn't mean fighting, it just means owning themselves. So, which brings me to our next question. Where does this leave women today? And the follow, you know, and to follow on from that, it's like, how can we bust some of the myths, the popular myths of witchcraft? But let's look at what women can do today, perhaps. Where does it leave us? We know where it leaves us, actually, but what can we do?
Can I pop in there and answer that
Please
question?
do. Sorry, I was just reading a message from someone that sent a question, a comment.
Because I've worked also in the area of career advice for women. So I've got some very strong feelings around that, because I feel like as we have moved into working more and more full time, what has happened is that we have chosen to become more male in the way we express ourselves rather than being in our feminine. And so when I look at that, what I see is the most important part is to reclaim our feminine and go, this has value. This actually aligns more with who I am. And it will stop me feeling out of sorts, out of balance, exhausted, all of the things that we tend to feel if we've gone through life in that male projection. So as a first thing, I would say reclaim your feminine. That would be the first thing I would say.
Absolutely. And I love that. And that is so true. And this is something that I was, that actual topic where women have stepped into roles of the masculine, the male, to survive in their positions or to gain positions. And absolutely, we want to stay in our feminine essence. So there's the external, but there's also the internal within us as well. But yes, we don't need to give ourselves away. And I guess that's part of the process of learning, because in being in the natural therapies world and in lecturing, my goodness, I lectured professionally for 13 years in clinical aromatherapy, and the amount of women that were studying or turning to the more spiritual paths were women out of corporate, and they couldn't do it anymore. It was burning them out, and they couldn't, they were just constantly being squashed. So we don't need to change. We don't need to take on that role. That was such an important point to bring up, Melody. Thank you. Alessandra.
Yes, I completely agree with Melody. That's something that I speak about often as well. And I think off the back of that, it's so important to do the inner healing and work through those limiting beliefs and all of that conditioning, because we still, in our bones, in our souls, hold on to that fear. And even in this day and age, we still have to fight to be heard and recognized, and for it to be okay to be feminine and be a woman. And so that inner work is super, super important, as is supporting each other and encouraging each other to do that, loving your sisters.
Coming together. Absolutely. One of our audience, Mary, she's actually a part of the Sacred You community, Mary Davis, and she's put a comment in here, lovelies, that's very important. And this has been a battle forever. And it's like, she lives in the US, where there is a political agenda to take a woman's rights away, to own her own body. Like, it's not her decision to do certain things. And I've always said, it's nobody's fucking business but our own. We are the ones that make the choice of what we do for whatever reason. And I think today, Mary, if you're still there, they'd be pretty hard pushed to do that in Australia. We don't see that so much in Australia. They've tried, but I think women do have quite a strong voice, still not strong enough in Australia, but we have really risen. And I don't know if our government would be able to get away with that, taking those rights away. It would be interesting. I'm up for it. I'm up for the fight, so to speak. Janaki, what are your thoughts, lovely?
Yes, I love both what you all said, um, because, and it's also showing me confirmation. So I've been now leading a women's retreat called Sounds of Soul, being your authentic expression of your gifts and going through the metamorphosis process. And in my very first one is where I got to restore my relationship with the word power and leader because I had that distorted. And so I connected with like a Kali energy and really dove in deep and energetically cut the cord. And it was so deep. And then um, I now it's the leadership of the old ways is the top of the pyramid, and heart-led leadership is I'm going to do this with you. I'm not going to tell you what to do. We're going to do this together. We're going to rise together, and that's what the divine feminine energy is about: is the love and the support and surrendering, letting yourself be supported, because that's something I've rewritten within myself as well, is carrying on that belief I have to do it all myself. And I was in a breath session and I heard my true self said, you're not a human doing, you're a human being. Surrender into your support. Stop trying to do it all so we can support you. And since then, I'm receiving support by the masculine energy showing up in my life in ways I've never expected, in my husband, in all the relationships in my life. So it is so true. What you give you here internally becomes the ripple effect. And women have this power. We are so much, we birth in creation. So it is time we stand together. It's no more standing against, it's no more fighting. It is standing together in love, in unity consciousness, where we're no longer comparison. And I'm a words wizard alchemist, and in comparison, I saw come prison. When we compare ourselves with others, we're putting ourselves in our own mind jail. And let's lead with love. Let's lead with compassion, acceptance, and grace. And the more we can truly love ourselves, that's why I'm in this journey of radical self-love for 40 something years. And it's been amazing. And I take others with me, because the more you love yourself, the more you see love in your world around you. You see your world how you see yourself. And it is now we're building systems. It's time to go in, build the internal systems so we can revise and build new systems of our earth. And this is why I'm now choosing to partner with Order and Structure. So it's the harmonic flow of the masculine and feminine together.
Yes, yes, I love that. Thank you. And I guess with the age that we're going through too, astrologically, if you align to astrology with Pluto in Aquarius, this is a time, we've just popped back into, I think we're back in Capricorn at the moment. Pluto was back in Capricorn, and then November goes direct again. And the last time that Pluto was in this transit in Aquarius was 248 years ago, when the French revolutions happened. This is about breaking down the old systems to rebuild the new. And so it's not going to happen overnight, but we can already see those old patriarchal systems breaking down. It is happening, and it will take time. So with women especially, well, actually I'm going to say men too, because there's a lot of men that do struggle in their role in this time as well, because I've had conversations with friends and they have been feeling confused. What is my role as a man now? Because the women that they are around getting stronger. Well, as we know, it's about working together. We don't need a hierarchy in male or female. We want to work together. How long that's going to take, I don't know, because it's like the pendulum, isn't it? It swings. And so will we ever reach that? I don't even know. Honestly, I don't know. I would like to think we will. However, what we need to do in my personal opinion, is, yeah, speak our truth, be in our truth unapologetically, and love ourselves unapologetically. Because when we do have that self-love, what happens is that we become more confident and we know that we're worthy of what we desire. We become magnetic. People say, I want a bit of her. I want to be like that. And then we pull together and we draw the people and build our communities and create that ripple effect, which is very, very powerful. So I just want to say, before we go into the next question, that we're talking about, witches and witchcraft. And yes, there's all the lovely stuff of spell crafting and ritual and ceremony and, celebrations. And for me, connecting with Mother Earth and working with all the cycles. But that's a very small part of being a witch woman. So I just wanted to put that in because, in the modern witchcraft today, I'm sorry, but I'm going to say this. I'm not sorry, actually. But being a witch in this modern day world is not about, doing hexes on your ex-boyfriend or his new partner, and is he going to come back to me? Hell, ladies, if he's left you, let him go. He's not worth taking back. But it's just like, living as a witch is honoring all that is, and above all of that is yourself, because if you can't honor yourself, how on earth are you going to honor everything else? So yes, you can have the spells and the rituals and build like-minded communities. I love doing spells and ritual and ceremony, but always for the good. Don't waste your energy and time on wanting to hex somebody. And we have in this modern day world, I have to say this because I'm having a bit of a rant, like all my whole life, I've had people saying to me, I hope you're a white witch. Are you a good witch? And especially these days, because, we now have white witches, grey witches, black witches. And I'm going to say, for fuck's sake, that's somebody's dream world. That's Christianity. Like, what the hell is all of that? And so a witch is a witch. And when people even now say to me, I hope you're a white witch, I go, no, I am a witch. It's like, no, that doesn't exist. It's not what witchcraft is. And I've heard witches that call themselves grey witches because they believe in hexing. And it's like, okay, you're not living the true life of the craft, and I believe that there are times when we need to protect and put a halt to things and banish things and do these things, like putting it out for the good of creatures, Mother Earth, the universe, whatever. But yes, a witch is a witch, people. A witch is a witch, and she can be any type of witch. But this white, grey, and black, I might get a bit of flack for that, but I'm sorry. Wrap it up and put it in the garbage bin, because it is not what witchcraft is about. And bring it on if you want to give me some flack. I'm up for it.
Well, I don't want to give you flack. I don't want to give you flack at all. But what I would say is, why are we only looking at black, white, and grey? Because I'm a colour witch. I'm a magenta.
Exactly. How dare they leave you out?
Exactly. Isn't it about us aligning our wisdom with whichever ray we are on and how we've come to express as a soul?
Yes,
That's
and I think there is a place, if they want to put themselves into there is, as I said, there is a place for things, but let's not forget the essence of what the craft is about. And I might push a few buttons here as well, where I used to believe in love and light, and that's all there is. But the light can't be without the dark. And so, and the shadow aspect is not, or the dark side is not necessarily evil, as has been indoctrinated into so many. It's the power. And that's what patriarchy and that have been afraid of.
Yeah.
Although we could go on and on and on about this, but let's get on to the next question. Did you want to share something, Janaki, or you're just excited?
Yes, yes. So when you said evil, and this came through of my dad, this perception of him hating evil. I was like, I am my father loving evil, and my pen wrote evolve. And then if you look at the word evil, evil spelled backwards is live. So the whole purpose of evil, the perception of evil, is the encouragement of living. And when you said about the light and the dark, when I looked at the eclipse this October, what I heard is we are now merging the polarities of our duality of individuality coming together as one. And there is no light or dark. It's light and dark because we are both. To deny ourselves of one is to deny ourselves of who we are. And it's the dance.
Absolutely. I love that. Thank you. And look, we look at the moon, you know, she goes through her phases, and the dark moon, even though it's short-lived, I mean, the full moon is only but a moment, although most people don't realize that. But the dark moon is a beautiful place to go into reflection, to tap into our shadows, and whether that's our power or what is holding us back. There's something lurking down there. And as Alessandra, and her and I have spoken about this before, there's layers of inner healing to do. And once you start, there ain't no going back. It just is layers and layers. But that's great because we keep evolving. And it's actually really exciting. Number 4, we've kind of, but let's delve into this a bit more. How can we bust some popular myths about witchcraft to shed light on the ongoing associations between women and witchcraft? So, Alessandra, I feel like you're itching to say something.
Oh, I think a lot of what has just been spoken about ties in with this as well. And as you said, it's not just about doing spells and ritual, as fantastic as they are. But the thing is, when you are truly walking the path of the witch, the empowered, wise woman, you don't actually need to be doing spells for every goddamn little thing, because you're already attracting it through your vibration. And you know that, as Julie said, if he's gone off and cheated on you, you don't need him. That's old. You are bigger and better than that. You are greater, and you have greater problems, and you see things for what they truly are. You see the world differently. You see yourself differently. And that is true power. That is where the power is, not in manipulating or making someone do something against their will or make something happen that's not in your best interests.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Challenges, we have a choice. We always have a choice. So we can choose to, and it's okay to go into that process of going into the dark, because that can be a part of the process. It's how do we stay stuck there, or do we use it as an opportunity to learn and grow? I remember a time when I was really full on into my craft there. No, I mean, I still am, but you know, we go through different phases, and I think, I'll bring on the challenges. I can do it. It makes me a better woman. And then it got to a point where it's like, whoa, Tex, this is just too much. It's like, I'd like a bit of peace now, but I've got a lot of 8th house stuff in astrology, which is constant transformation. So it's just like far out. Anyway, so look at every challenge that we come by, or that comes to us, or that we walk through, as an empowering and inspiring opportunity to grow and become that magnificent woman in your own mind, because you already are. And as Alessandra said, a spell doesn't necessarily have to be a whole ritual and using candles. It's our words. We are setting intentions with our words. So I get excited with these things. Melody.
Well, I'm in agreement with everyone. I would like to just go back to an idea that I use when I'm working with clients, and that is our society as a whole is a tree, and each of us has come in to be some part of that tree, whether we be the roots, the branches, the trunk, right? We are all wise. We all have a wisdom within that. But what I find is that witches that take on the full embodiment of that wise woman, they tend to be on the outer edges, on the very fine leaves, right there in the breeze. And there's a reason for that. The reason is they need to have access to the consciousness in a way that the mainstream of the branch or the trunk can't have. And so because of that, we need to recognize that sometimes if we're going to be out in that part of the world of our tree, then we're going to not be part of the mainstay. We're going to be a little bit isolated or separate or in a space where we think differently. That's our job if we've come in to be that kind of witch. And I think we need to understand the roles of what witch is. It's not just one facet, it's a multifaceted wisdom that we are all part of.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. And I like being right on the tips of the leaves.
Me too.
For
I'm
me,
quite
it's
happy
the best
there.
place to be. It's my happy place.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Did you want to add to that, Janaki? Or
Yes, I'll add. So when I was younger and I was in this drum circle, there was a lot of people around. I used to be petrified, first of all, to dance in public. And yes, my love. And come here. And one of the things is, as I was dancing, I noticed there was a huge circle around me. There was a huge crowd. Everything was crowded. And when I looked up, someone goes, "Oh, she's a witch," because I was playing with energy, dancing, having fun, being my inner child. And at first I got triggered and I let it affect me. And so everything's about relationships. And so I form a new relationship with that word. And I heard with inner tender child heart. And recently now I say wild inner tender child heart. So it's letting ourselves connect with our inner child. I love how my inner child comes up as she says this. Because there is such a misconception on a witch. I had women being kicked me out of a yoga community because oh, hold on, my love. Thank you. Kicked me out of a community that I was going to be teaching yoga because I was teaching an I am journey called I Am a Witch. And they like, we can't have that here. And I was like, the misconception, magic, true magic exists in the presence of now. Why is that? Like, how did that get distorted? That's where true magic exists, is when we can slow down and be in the presence of now. That's where our mirror oracles happen, our miracles, when we can see the divine mirrors of the oracles of who we are. So, yeah.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you. Now, I would say we've got a few more minutes. I just want to, Mary also said, remember the moon continues, it travels no matter how much light it shares. And that's it. We're continuing to go through the different phases. It's the darkness of the earth that the seed grows. Absolutely, Alessandra. Beautiful. And yes, love is the element of power. I'm just reading out some comments here. Absolutely. So I'm going to give you a minute each if there's anything else you would like to add to this topic, and then we have to close off. So put your hand up if you want to share one more thing. Just come on in. Alessandra.
I just want to say, don't be afraid to experiment and try new things, because that is how we learn and discover our own truths. That's how the remembering happens. And clarity precedes action, or the other way. Yeah.
Do both.
Clarity, yeah. But well, yeah, just it's in the doing that we find that truth, and we find our path, and we plant the seeds. Just don't be afraid. Try it. Try new things.
Yeah, from the darkness we grow. It's beautiful.
And
Yeah.
I'd like to add something there as well to follow up from that, and that is that you already know where you're meant to be. And so if it means that you need to be quiet in order to hear that, then allow yourself that journey, and allow yourself to be, if you like, led by the nose to where you need to, find yourself, or find the group that will open that up. Some people need the group in order to get to their wisdom and their magic, and other people don't. They're quite happy doing the work on their own. So one is not exclusive of the other, and within your whole lifetime you may come and go at different parts. So it is a journey in the same way that you are journeying, through your own life. That's what it looks like.
Yes, I love that. And it's true. I love a balance. I like to do things on my own, and I also like to sit with community, and I love doing circles with women, simply talking, speaking our truth, having a say, having a laugh. And when I feel stuck, it might be that, I don't necessarily say, show yourself to me. What do I need to know? It's like, I'll sit and I'll go talk to my higher self, because we all know, we know. It's just that we have not been trained to tap into, or we've been crushed and disbelieve in ourselves. And I often just sit with my higher self, and it's like, what are my next steps? And it will come to me in some way. And it doesn't just, fall down from the sky and happen. They might look for the signs and symbols, and what they represent to you, and trust yourself. Trust yourself. So, you've got a minute if you want to share another thing, Janaki.
Yes, building on what you were saying, the signs and the symbols are easy to see when you tune in and tap in. You can hear the symphony of the universe. And then building what Alessandra said of the doing, what I have found is when we light up from within, the inspiration from within, and we take action from within, the inspired action, it brings forth our aligned attraction. So the doing is no longer doing, it's creating. And when we're in the creation mode, we are God. God creates, and that's who we be and become. And it's a very juicy place of being. And everything is about intention and attention. What are we focused on? It's bigger. And so being vigilant, what do you choose? What is your focus and awareness on?
And I want to share something. For me, I don't use the word God because I associate it to patriarchy and religion, the Christianity. So I use universe. And so I just wanted to say that for other people too that might feel the same, whatever works for you, it doesn't matter. But what I want to say is that the universe isn't separate. Our higher self isn't separate. We are that, in my personal belief. So I am the universe is me. I think for me, that's been a part of my growth too, to really embrace that, because when I'm speaking or I'm doing anything, it's from myself that I'm coming from, not another entity that is outside of me. And I think sometimes from what I've seen in conversations and witnessed and heard. And some people do put us as a separate entity, and we're not. So that's my take on it. Now, I want to say thank you so much, ladies, for being here. I really appreciate it. And our sacred community, our Sacred You community appreciates it. Everybody's links will be available for all to connect with. And so, yeah, please check in with people, our speakers, if you feel aligned. All of them are absolutely gorgeous women who are so easy to connect and communicate with. And before we go, I just want to talk a little bit about our Sacred You community, where we have an opportunity for anybody that is interested to join the Sacred You community for $1 US. And that gives you 2 weeks of exploring all of the tribes that are available, where we have numerous speakers that run different tribes on different topics in this realm of spirituality, energetic healing, in however you want to describe it. And it's a very, very supportive community. And then if you wish to, you can stay on. And there's different packages and memberships. And you can also run tribes, like I run the Bewitching tribe on a Friday. In Sydney time, it's 12:30 to 1:30. And I talk about lots of different things. You get a pinch of magic, a pinch of astrology, a pinch of this and a pinch of that, pinch of art. So it's quite eclectic. And so, yeah, come on in and check it out, because I don't think you can be sorry for spending $1. And the other thing is, we've got the Harmony Fest coming up in September. And this is where you can have an online stall. You can do a reading, be a reader. You can run workshops, masterclasses, or you can be somebody that wants to take the opportunity to delve into any of those. And so check out the sacredyou.love.com. I might get Sophia to come in and share a little bit more about that, because I know she's there, I think.
No, I'm not here. Who are you? Julie.
Yes.
Oh, I was flying around somewhere on my phone.
I'll be doing that soon.
So first of all, can I thank you? Seriously, thank you. It's been a wonderful conversation, and thank Janaki and Melody and Alessandra. I hope I got that right. Wonderful conversation. Really, 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 truly. It's been inspiring, and I know everyone who's watching it has also been inspired as well. Now, so yes, Sacred You, as you were saying, Julie, you can join us just for $1. Not only do you get to try out Julie's tribe, the Bewitching tribe, you also get to listen to, on a weekly basis, the most divine sound healing with Sound to the Souls with our beautiful Janaki. Oh my God, even just that, those two tribes are worth so much. But as you were saying, Julie, $1 for 2 weeks, but right now we have a very amazing special on leading up to Harmony Fest, which I'll talk about. Is you can join us for that $1 for 2 weeks, and we're offering 50% lifetime membership. So 50% off our membership for lifetime, not a week or a month or a year, but lifetime. So join us now before the end of Harmony Fest, which is in 1 month's time. September, in 1 month, actually, literally, this time in a month, we will be in Harmony Fest in 4 weeks' time. So come and join us there. And Harmony Fest, what is Harmony Fest? It's 3 days of virtual stalls, masterclasses and online readings and healers. So if anyone wants to be involved in that, do click on the links below.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, well, I'm going to get on my broomstick and ride upstairs and have a relax on my bed. And I've got a few to choose from, so I'll go with the low-powered one this afternoon. Yes, sorry, Sophia.
I was going to say so. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you, everybody, and
Thanks.
see you again.
And
Love you too.
for everyone who is watching, do click